I would complain about the placement of the microphone, but I think I placed it. That was a wonderful sort of circus march by Karl King called Cyrus the Great. It actually wasn't originally written for the circus. It was written for the Fort Dodge, Iowa concert band from that town where Karl King had settled. And Cyrus the Great, as you may have read in the program or not, was not a king of Mesopotamia or any place exotic like that. He was a bass drummer in the Fort Dodge band. And he had names, he had pet names for like everybody that was in the band. He directed the band like forever and ever and ever. And he had like names for everybody. And many of his marches are actually named after members of the Fort Dodge, Iowa band. So this Cyrus the Great was like the best bass drummer that ever lived. So now we're going to move on to with our overture for tonight, this afternoon rather, by Dmitri Kabalevsky, who was a Soviet composer, but really just sort of existed on his own, and nobody actually bothered him during the Stalin regime. And so he wrote things that were based on exotic stories and strange stories. Breugnon actually is a French story by I'm going to mispronounce this, and my friend up here in the clarinet section will correct me later. But Romain Rolland wrote the novel Breugnon, and it was a terrible novel. So Kabalevsky decided to have it made into a terrible opera. And what we have left today is this absolutely gorgeous overture that was written for it, which is played on concert stages across the world very regularly. It's a very, very common piece to hear played. So we are going to play this very memorable overture from a very forgettable opera by Dmitri Kabalevsky. love to be able to blame somebody on that. During the after World War II, let's say, at the end of the 40s and into the 1950s, the concert band movement was just starting to get on a roll. Coming out of the World War II, most of the music up until the war had been mostly military music, and in the late 1940s, early 50s, people like Goldman of the Goldman Band and some others began to ask famous composers to write music for, in his case, in the case of Richard Franco Goldman, the Goldman Band, the famous Goldman Band. And he asked people like Hindemith, and he asked Rachmaninoff, he asked a bunch of Mio, a lot of famous composers to write music for the bands. But a lot of this, whereas it was wonderful music, and we've played, you've heard several pieces that we've played that were written for the Goldman Band and other professional bands. But it wasn't until in the late 60s that people were writing really contemporary band music that was really high quality for schools. And one of the first people to do this was a gentleman by the name of John Barnes Chance. And he's written several pieces that we've played. You might remember, I think it was last year that we did the Incantation and Dance by John Barnes Chance. And we've done a couple of other things by him too, Blue Lake Overture several years ago. But today we're going to play the one that actually he won a couple of awards for, and it's called Variations on a Korean Folk Song. When he was stationed in Korea, he just picked up bits and pieces of this melody and wrote variations on it. Variations are when you take a melody, or sometimes it's just a rhythm, but in this case it's a melody, and he uses it in different ways so that you might hear a fast section, then a slow section, another fast section, and so on. But all the time you'll hear this melody, or in some cases a rhythm, going on. And so this is variations on this folk song, which is the first part of what you'll hear will be the folk song, and then it will be followed by the variations in which he takes the melody and does different interesting things with it. He was a percussionist, as you will soon be able to tell. So he wrote some great percussion. That's the other thing that changed big time in the 50s and 60s, is instead of the band percussion section being just snare drum, cymbals, and bass drum, and sometimes timpani, they started adding all of these mallet instruments and all of these what we call toys, which are, odd percussion instruments, things that are struck that make funny sounds. And so, and John Barnes Chance is very, very instrumental, as it were, in introducing a lot of percussion into the concert band. So we will play for you now the Variations on a Korean Folk Song by John Barnes Chance. We're going to take a brief intermission and rest just a hair. There are goodies out in the hallway if you're interested in them. Please take a minute and stretch your legs, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes and play you some Robert Russell Bennett. We've dedicated the second half of the program to a single piece that's in three movements, but it's a single piece by Robert Russell Bennett. I could actually be up here for like 2 hours and not run out of things to say about Robert Russell Bennett, because he has so much to do with sort of our American culture, and all this music that we don't know was actually Robert Russell Bennett. The biggest thing he does, and it's in the program notes if you want to follow this up later, he's responsible for doing the orchestrations, that is to do the pit orchestra parts or the soundtrack, the movie soundtrack, for some 300 altogether musicals and famous musicals. Almost all of the Rodgers and Hammerstein things are the work of Robert Russell Bennett, South Pacific, Carousel, Sound of Music, South Pacific, I already said, Oklahoma, and a bunch of Cole Porter, Kiss Me Kate, Anything Goes, a bunch of Jerome Kern things, Showboat, Roberta. Just all of the Lerner and Lowe shows, Camelot, My Fair Lady, just show after show after show, and there's almost, there is very rarely that you can name, a very, very rare occurrence where you can name a show that was a major show that was running in New York or London in the 1950s and 40s, 50s, and 60s, and not have been orchestrated by Robert Russell Bennett or one of his students. So it's just absolutely incredible. And what we think of as the Richard Rodgers sound really is the Robert Russell Bennett sound. One of his biggest accomplishments, and he I think got a Pulitzer Prize for it, among other awards, is he wrote the complete score for based on Richard Rodgers' musical sketches for Victory at Sea, which was probably the first major documentary, for lack of a better word, on television in the early 50s, and it took in all of the Second World War in the South Pacific, and he wrote, I think there's many episodes worth of music for Victory at Sea. In addition, he wrote just all kinds of background music for other movies, and so the saga of Robert Russell Bennett goes on. And if any of you who have ever been to a show by Rodgers and Hammerstein or Lerner and Lowe, you've heard the work of Robert Russell Bennett. In addition, he loved to write for concert band, and it's just wonderful stuff. A couple of years ago, we played his Suite of Old American Dances, which is great fun, and we'll repeat that at some point down the road. But today, we're going to play his symphonic songs for band, which is written for band. It wasn't written for orchestra. He wrote specifically for the symphonic band medium, and it's song styles. You'll hear it's all Broadway-ish kind of writing, and we've enjoyed working on this. It's not played all that often, and I'm not sure why. I think that there was an early edition of it that had difficulties in it that sort of scared people off, but we have a new editing of it that has worked on rhythms and things. I had the pleasure of getting an email from the person who was the editor of this. He says, well, I see you're doing the symphonic, you're brave enough to do the symphonic songs. And he said, you know, good luck, he wished us good luck, and it's a fairly new edition. He didn't change any of the music at all. He just tidied it up so it's a little bit easier to look at. And what you will hear is there is a single rhythm, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, that runs through all three movements. And sometimes it's fast, and sometimes it's very, very slow. But Robert Russell Bennett is in the case with the John Barnes Chants, to take an idea or a rhythmic motive or a rhythmic idea and use it to tie the whole piece together. We think you'll enjoy this. I know that it's become one of my favorite pieces, and I've waited for many, many years to have a group that was ready and willing and able to do this piece. So we have for you the symphonic songs by the incredible Robert Russell Bennett. I think we have one more for you. I would like to thank you all so much for coming out this afternoon. It's the first nice day we've had all week, and I'm happy to see some folks are indoors enjoying the afternoon with us. And as always, we appreciate your patronage and your just smiling faces out there. Our next symphonic band concert is February the 7th. Is that right? They don't know. But anyway, it's the day before Super Bowl. So we had to make it's going to be on a Saturday. So keep abreast of that. We're doing something new this year. We are doing some, for lack of a better word, chamber concerts. That sounds sort of stuffy, but it really isn't. Some smaller groups from within the band will be playing it on different dates, so look in your calendar, and that's in the program for that. The first one is December 7th, and you'll be hearing our wonderful clarinet choir and the trombone choir and a smaller chamber group as well. And we invite you to stay, keep track of what we're doing in the newspaper and everything, and come out and come to that too. Thank you again for coming to this afternoon. I want to say tonight, but it isn't tonight. It's just dark in this room. Thank you so much. And we're going to play a really quick gallop by the great composer Karl King. Is this the Eclipse? Yep. Yes. He wrote 107 gallops, and I can never remember which one is which. This is the Eclipse Gallop by Karl King.